Hi everyone, Tori here with another Project Life Process video. This one is called The Great Outdoors and Indoors. I'm going to be scrapbooking some winter kind of photos, and I'm using a Design A page protector. So I laid out my photos and now I'm choosing my Project Life cards. So let me tell you a little bit about the photos. The photo in the top left-hand corner is a photo of the weather app on my phone. And as you can see, it says the weather is -12, and that's degrees Celsius. So if you are in the US and you use Fahrenheit, that's 10 degrees, 0.4. But the part that I really want you to notice is on the second side, it says feels like -20. It was so cold that day. So -20 is actually -4 Fahrenheit. So yeah, it got that cold. It was because of the wind and everything. It was so freezing cold. Um, and so then that photo of me with the like beige scarf on right underneath the weather app one was taken that day. I was so cold, but I wanted to snap a selfie outside when I walked our dog. And then I have a photo of my moccasin slippers, and then also another photo of me outside wearing a blue hat and a blue scarf. And I have a collage in the bottom left-hand corner that I created of 4 winter type photos, one of my boots, 2 of the snow, and then one of walking my dog. And then those are the photos that I'm going to be using. So I had this pink pop art like kit card, and I placed that under the collage photo. And then I had this card that came in the Studio Calico pop art kit that said "It's Beautiful Here," which I wanted to use. Um, and then the heart that you can see there with the pink on it, as well as the 2015 transparency, they are from the other side of the spread. So I'm not actually going to do anything to those because I like the heart as it is, and the 2015 I don't want to back it, so I don't mind that it's like that. So a couple things I wanted to say is I decided to add sequins here, and that's because I know that I want to add a shaker card and use my fuse tool. So I'm going to be using my fuse tool in this video, so you'll see that in a little while. And the reason I wanted to use my fuse tool is because I had this card, which you can see off to the left there. It just has a circle on it, and one side of the card says The Great Outdoors, and then when you flip the card over, the other side says The Great Indoors. And I thought it would be cute to be able to see both sides of that card on the spread, especially since I have photos of my like slippers, which is the indoors, and I have a photo of myself outside, all bundled up, which is the outdoors. So I'm going to use my fuse tool in a little bit, but first I'm going to get the rest of the spread ready. So I have a Martha Stewart snowflake punch, and I punched out some snowflakes. I placed 2 on the It's Beautiful Here card, and then 1 on the weather app card at the top. I also placed 1 in the middle of that giant snowflake on the collage. Now what I wanted to say was I used 2 apps to do that collage. I used the PicStitch app to do the collage, so to make the 4 quadrants. And then I used a Rana app to add the snowflake in the middle and the title that says Wintertime on the left-hand side there. Just love both of those apps, and I thought it would be fun to do something a little different because I'm not really a digital scrapper, just because I don't know, I haven't figured out how to use what's it called, Photoshop or whatever, but with those apps I can do similar type things, and it's really fun. Okay, so those photos of me all bundled up were a little smaller than 3x4, so I'm just backing them on some white paper and then rounding the corners of those, just because my Canon Selfie does not print true 3x4 or 4x6, so I always have to map my photos. Like I'm going to have to map that photo app one. So for the photo app one, I just grabbed this paper from the card kit and cut a little bit off each side so that I could map that. And I wanted a little bit of the paper to show, so I ended up trimming the photo down just a little bit more so that more of that blue and white paper underneath can show. Let's see, what else can I say? I haven't really got to anything else yet. It was really cold, and it gets really cold here in wintertime. I live in Toronto. Well, okay, I don't live in Toronto. I live just north of Toronto, which is Whitchurch Stouffville. But I always say Toronto just because that's easier, and it's also true. So it's really cold in Canada. Like, let me just tell you, it gets cold. It also gets hot. So, like, during the summertime, it's hot. But I think we go from like this -20 feeling, which would be -4 in Fahrenheit, all the way up to like 40s, which would be like 100. So like Fahrenheit, and it just goes back and forth. So maybe 40s is like in the 90s. I don't know, but it gets really hot. So I had a little strip of paper off of that blue and white paper that had like crisscross on it, and I just added a little strip of it to that quiet weekend card with my slippers. I had a blue alpha, and I added ice cold to that photo of me outside. Then I decided to grab some of the chipboard that I got in one of the kits, and the one I used was magical, and I placed it on that card with the collage. And then I wanted to really highlight the fact that the app says feels like -20. So I grabbed a banner, and I wrote feels like -20 on it, and I'm gonna stick it on that bottom of that card where I'm all bundled up. And just add that. And then I wanted to add a couple enamel dots, so I'm adding these like blue, I don't know if they're called gumdrops or something like that. A couple around the page. I added 3 to the photo feels like -20. And I added one to the ice, or a couple to the ice cold. I love that it's beautiful here, and I wanted to just jazz it up a little bit. So I grabbed my Wink of Stella glitter pen and just traced over the words "It's beautiful here." And it's very light, but it gives a cute little sparkle, which I really like. So this is the point where I'm almost finished the layout. I'm just going to make the shaker pocket and the flip card with my fuse tools. So first I wanted to slow it down and hold up the cards so that you can see what they all look like. I like this, like it's a little minimalistic, but it's fun. So I want that great outdoors, great indoor card to go in between the quiet weekend and the ice cold, and I want it to like flip back and forth. Now the card was just white, so I wanted to add something to it and jazz it up a little bit. And I've been watching a lot of Project Life Process videos on YouTube, and there's some amazing YouTubers who have been using watercolor in their Project Life, and I was like, why have I never done this before? So I grabbed out my watercolor set. This one's just a cheap one that comes from Michaels. And then I just added some like random drops and droplets and stuff, mostly in pinks, blues, and purples, because I wanted to keep with the other colors that are already on the page. So I just add a little bit, dry it off with my paper towel, and I'm not adding a lot of water, so it doesn't really like impact it that much, which is good. And then I wanted to just add a little bit of sprinkles, so I do that too, and then dry it off with my paper towel. So I really like the way that that works out, and I think it'll look cute on the layout. And it was super easy and quick, and because I didn't add a lot of water, it dries really quickly too. So it's pretty much dry. So now I'm going to add my date stamp, and I add this stamp right underneath the title, The Great Outdoors and Indoors. And then I'm going to add journaling by writing around in the circle. So the journaling on the winter side, The Great Indoors says, in wintertime I just love being snuggled up inside beside the fire. And then on the other side it just says, in wintertime I just love being out in the cold, bundled up in the snow. Yeah. So then I knew that I wanted it to be a shaker pocket, so I'm just picking out some sequins. And I know I'm going to get a question about this, so that like donut type sequin container I got at the dollar store. Then I'm grabbing one of these fusible pockets by We Are Memory Keepers. I grabbed the 4x6 one because I didn't have a 3x4 one. And then I thought, you know what, this card just needs a little bit more. I wish it was sparkly. So I grabbed some clear stickles and I just added little dots. And then I was trying to dry it, but it wouldn't dry fast enough, so then I just gave up on that and I'm gonna just smudge it around. But so both sides has like a little bit of a shimmer and a sparkle to it because of that. So then I grabbed the pocket and cut it down to 3x4, which I shouldn't have done. It was the wrong size. It needs to be bigger than 3x4 so that I confuse it. So I'm going to try that, and then if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to redo it. Now, one of the things I really like to do when I make shaker pockets is glue down a few sequins. That way it doesn't all fall to the bottom. So I just glue down a few of them sporadically around the page, and then it will always look like there's sequins all over. I'm also going to put loose ones in there that can shake about, but I just like gluing a few down just so that there's always sequins everywhere. So I wanted that to dry faster because I'm a very impatient person. So I was using my heat tool to try to dry that quickly. And then I realized I didn't have enough sequins, so I had to grab more. So I'm going to fuse up one side of this pocket, and then I realized that I had done it wrong, so I shut it off so that I could figure out what to do. So then I cut a new pocket, leaving extra on the side so that I would have extra space to actually fuse the pocket down. So the first thing I did was I stuck the card in, and then I have to seal up two sides of it because I've cut it twice. So I'm just going to tape that down, and I know I'm a little bit out of frame, but it does get better. Sorry about that. And I just used some washi tape to tape that down, and then I just fuse up one side and then trim off an excess because I had fused it two over. And then I'm going to stick the card in, and the card is 3x4, but I decided I wanted to just trim it down a little bit so that there would be more space on the flap for the fuse. So I just trim off like a little sliver, I think, off of each side just to make sure that it's going to fit properly. And I'm going to round the corners of that because I want it to still like match with the rest of the layout where all the cards are rounded. I don't know, I'm sort of obsessive about that. And then I'm going to stick that card in there. It's a little tight with the sequins and because the paper's warped a little bit, but that's okay. So then once I have that in there, oh, I guess I have to cut off more. Look at that. I forgot what I had to do. Okay, so I just cut off a little tiny bit more, and then I'm going to stick it in again. Sorry. And I keep going off screen. I'm so bad at that. Okay, so then I'm going to add the sequins on both sides, just making sure that there's enough of the sequins in there. I've used some blue ones, some pink ones, some purple from Pretty Pink Posh, and some silver circles and stars from Studio Calico. Yep, I just love the color mix. It's fun. I'm going to give you a close-up at the end so that you can see it. And then once I've got all the sequins in there, I'm just going to tape that down to my tabletop again. And then I'm going to fuse up the sides to keep the sequins in. Just because I don't want them falling out. It needs to be super tight. So I'm just going to fuse that up. And I love this fuse tool. If you have one and you don't know how to use it, I do have a how-to video, which I will try to remember to link up for you. But if I forget, you can just go into the playlists and look up the playlist called How To, and you'll see a how-to video on how to use your fuse tool. I love that thing. I need to use it more often because it's so much fun, and especially when you can add like fun little pockets like this, or flip cards, or I don't know what you want to call it. So there I am. It's finished. It's all in there. The sequins can shake around, and my little shaker card. And now I'm going to fuse that actually onto the pocket where it's going. So it's going to go right in the middle of those two 3x4 slots. That way it can flip back and forth, the great outdoors, great indoors, depending on which photo you're looking at. So I taped it down with just a little bit of washi tape just to make sure that it wouldn't move or shift, because it's sort of, the plastic against the plastic is slick. And then I'm just trimming off the excess. And then I'm going to just add the cards back in. I took them out just so that I wouldn't mess anything up, and then so that it would be easier to see. And then you can see the card flips back and forth just like that. So it's almost done. I just want to add a paper clip. It's sort of plastic paper clip. I got in an old Studio Calico kit to that card, and I'm just going to staple it there. And then I feel like I wanted it to be more tactile, so I'm adding a flare button onto that spot where that flip part is too, and I'm also adding a little resin flower on the outside of the pocket to the middle of that snowflake thing, and then it gives it like a more tactile feel. I don't know, every once in a while I like to do that, just something fun. Now at the end of the video I'm going to show you a close-up of that flip card part just so that you can see it. Other than that, the layout is done. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye!